as mentioned, we've got Chris Fleming here with us today. Chris has ran his own advertising agency called Look for many years, so he knows the game inside out. First of all, can you tell us about your advertising background and career?
Well, I was 17 when I realised that advertising was my career. I remember I was at university, and as part of my Bachelor of Arts course, there was a segment on copywriting. I had no idea what it meant. Like most people, I guess, I thought that it had something to do with the business of publishing. Such is not the case. Copywriting refers to people who write advertisements and commercials. And when I saw the first magazine, press advertisements that the lecturer put up on the screen, I went, wow, and I thought to myself, this is it for me. I'm going to be a copywriter. I'm going to write those great ads. It took me many years of persistence, but eventually I ended up with an agency job. Before that, I had worked had great experience actually at the Geelong Advertiser, part of the Herald Weekly Times group. Moved from there to Melbourne to get into the big scene, worked for Myer for a couple of years, went on to a division of Monaghan, Damon Adams, where I achieved my dream of working as a middleweight copywriter as part of the creative team. So from there I took the best offer of the bunch and I moved over to Clemenger. I worked there for 8 years, where I really learned the game bottom to top. From there I freelanced for a while, eventually set up my own agency, working direct to clients for many years, and I'm proud of that period. I did my best work there.
What do you like best about it all?
The most exciting thing about the advertising game is the creativity, both visual and conceptual. That's what turned me on immediately when I first saw those Bill Bernbach ads. But we must bear in mind, of course, that advertising is a business and it's about selling. If you can use your creative skills to make a big sale, that is the most exciting thing about advertising.
Well, that's all right. What was the least attractive in the advertising game for you?
The big problem today, as I look around the advertising world, as an older guy, an elder statesman of the business, I see a lack of professionalism. I see a lack of selling skills. I feel very sorry for the client, and I feel very sorry for the consumer as well, because they're not getting the value out of the industry that they should be. That's the big problem.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, thanks, Chris. What are the first steps an advertiser takes when they're sizing up a demographic like seniors? I mean, what do they take before they go for us?
What's known as a market segmentation. All too often, this would be in the less professional agencies, of which there are many. Sorry for grinding the axe here, Ray, but they would simply sit around a table and throw ideas up in the air. But a proper professional agency or marketing group would do a market segmentation, and they would segment the market in various ways. There'd be demographic, sociographic, cultural, gender, and of course what's known as the A, B, C, D categories, where you are ranked in order of income. I would say for the average marketer today, it's income segmentation that matters, closely followed by things like age, gender, cultural background, this kind of thing. They would then measure the impact of the advertising campaign in terms of TARPs, which stands for Target Audience, see whether you'd hit that market strongly.
Thanks, that's interesting. Once they've got all that data together, how they proceed to develop an ad that will call us up and get us, grab us?
Strategy is everything. I remember Jim Alexander sat us down each with a glass, an empty table glass, when I went to his first seminar, and said, to the astonishment of everyone in the room, I want each of you to give me 20 things about that glass that are superior to the glass next to it. Now, the reason I tell that story is because that's how you develop your USP. And I didn't tell you what that is before. I know you're on tenterhooks. That's unique selling proposition. Every ad, every product, every service, everything that you put in the marketplace must have something about it that's unique. But just coming down here this morning past the chemist shop, and there was a lovely ad that made this point to me. It was just a poster in the window for some cosmetic, and I think the USP was it dried quickly. So the PBM, the prime buying motivator, was spend 15 minutes extra in bed.
That leads into the ads. You sent me in a few. Would you like to call up a few? And
this one I'd like to go to is the oldest one, and that would be if it's here. Oh, the second oldest one. Let's go to the second oldest one first, which was the Avis ad.
Hey, there we go. And I'm about to pull that across the screen so people can see it. Avis is only number 2. I'll go with us, yeah.
The thing about an ad, when most people see an advertisement, they see one thing. What I see is 4 things. Every advertisement has to do 4 things. It has to get attention, develop interest, explain the proposition or pitch the proposition, and make a call to action. This ad is one of the most attractive ads that I think has ever been written in history, because it does something that very few people do. It admits a fault. And one of the great things in advertising, and you know, particularly people in the seniors area perhaps should look out for, is overpromise. When I see a headline that says, "We're only number 2, that to me immediately tells me that there's honesty here, there's something reliable. The fact of the matter is, this campaign for Avis pushed them into number 1 spot. It's a very powerful ad.
A couple of others we can look at with the time we've got.
Look, I think we'll go to the oldest ad now. Let's start right at the beginning.
Remove that source. Yep.
This is the Rolls-Royce ad, which was David Ogilvy. David Ogilvy, one of the giants of the industry. I think everyone would know his name. Look, this Rolls-Royce ad was so successful, it put the Rolls-Royce company out of business. What it was Ogilvy, who was operating in New York at that time. The Rolls-Royce people in Britain said, we want to come into the US, we want to make a big time there. What he did was he went down to the Rolls-Royce engineers and manufacturers, and he worked among them for a few days, and he found out this amazing piece of information, that at 60 miles an hour, the loudest sound in the new Rolls-Royce, I forget which model it was, but this is going back to the 50s, was the ticking of the electric clock. Now, that headline was so powerful that Rolls-Royce could not keep up with the demand in the US using their handmade approach, and as a result they lost market confidence and they went out of business, which is unfortunate. But the ad was powerful because it used a specific. If you're selling something in the marketplace, one of the most powerful things you can do is be specific. 11 herbs and spices, right? Not a few herbs and spices, not a bunch, not several. 11 herbs and spices. At 60 miles per hour, the loudest sound you can hear is the electric clock. And other examples of this type of thing you can think of. Very powerful ad. Now, I'll just flick through a couple of the other examples here. I get the feeling we're running out of time.
Yeah.
VW with the picture of the moon lander.
VW moon lander coming up. Here we are.
This approach is called Crazy Pick, Straight Headline. And it's one of 2 fundamental creative approaches. You've got Crazy Pick, Straight Headline, Straight Pick, Crazy Headline. Old. This is overpromise. There's, particularly in the finance industry, there's the white goods ads that promise pay nothing for the first 12 months. I would be very serious about looking at the fine print with any ads that overpromise. One thing I need to add with that, remember that the carriage to success in advertising has 2 horses. One's called frequency and one's called reach.
Well, thanks, Chris. That was excellent. I think it's a free course in advertising. I've been making notes as we've been talking as well and trying to work the computers, and I was really impressed. There's a lot there for all of us, and for those of you who might have a family in advertising or interested in it, I think it was just terrific. So once again, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, folks.